Welcome to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we continue with the 11th canto. We're discussing the second chapter and its verses 44 to 55. Our topic today is, what is a Bhakta? What is a Vaishnava? And this is a continuation of the questions by King Nimi to the Nava-yogendras, these 9 kings of yoga. So let's begin with an invocation, chanting some verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It provides an opportunity for people to arrive, as well as invoking auspiciousness. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Verse 2. Sutta uvacha yapra vajantamanapetamapeta krityam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya tarava bhinedus tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanantosmi. Srila Sutta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage Sukadeva Goswami, who could enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced daughter of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread, or the ceremonies observed by the higher castes, his father, Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son!' Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father." Text 3. Yasvanubhavam akila shruti sharamekam adyatmadipam atitir tisitam tamodam samsarinam karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasasona bhupayami gurum muninam. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shuka, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who, out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggled to cross over the darkest region of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Text 4. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today I join you from Auckland, New Zealand. Very happy to be here. I'm on New Varshana, a wonderful farm community, rural community, we could say, more rural than farm. And we'll be here for the next several days with some programs over the weekend. We welcome Monica Sharma joining us from Sydney, Australia. Monica says, Hare Krishna. Kirtida is with us from Norway, sending greetings. Shama Manjari joining us from South Africa, says Hare Krishna, Sri Prahlad Prabhuji and all devotees. And we have Nikunja, also in Auckland, New Zealand, who says Hare Krishna, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Welcome to all of you. We have some participants on Instagram as well. Pavani, Motivated with Maha, Friends in Flora, Vika Petrova, and Keshav Rajesh, as well as Shiv 1137 Prince. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here for this discussion. So, as I said earlier, we're discussing a continued conversation between King Nimi and 9 kings of yoga. Nava Yoga Indra. Indra means king. Yoga is the practice. So these are Nava 9. So these are 9 kings of yoga, and they have come to the palace of the king of Videha, King Nimi, and he has questions for them. So his first question was, what is Maya? What is the illusory? His first question was, what is bhakti? And then another question of his that we discussed is, what is Maya? Today, what is the Bhakta? This is a great question. You and I may have pondered this. What is a Bhakta? What is a devotee? At some point in our lives when we decided, I want to be a devotee. I want to try to be, even if we were born in families of devotees, this is a question that at some point, a decision that gets made. I want to be a devotee of Krishna. And so King Nimi, he takes the opportunity of the presence of these sages to ask that question. What is a devotee? Please explain in detail. What does a devotee do? How does a devotee think and speak and so on? This conversation comes up in other parts of the of our scriptures. Chaitanya Charitamrita has some discussions around the devotees. What is a devotee? When the residents of Saptagram had visited Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri, they stayed with him for 4 months they stayed for Rath Yatra and then 4 months of the rainy season. And then they were about to return home. They had darshan with Lord Chaitanya. And they asked for some special instruction. And he said, serve Vaishnavas. That was his instruction to them. And so they asked the question, well, what is a Vaishnava? What is a devotee? So he gave his response. He said, anyone who says Krishna's name is a devotee. Very broad definition. The following year, the same question was raised. Well, the devotees had darshan again, and they again asked the same question. What instruction do you have for us? And Lord Chaitanya gave the same answer. Serve devotees. And the devotees asked, well, who's a devotee? And Lord Chaitanya said, anyone who has a practice of bhakti yoga is a devotee. So more strict definition. Has a practice means regularly chanting with a vow. And then the third year, the same thing happened. The devotees asked the question. They had darshan. They asked the question. Lord Chaitanya gave the same answer. They asked the same question again. And Lord Chaitanya said, the third time, he said, anyone who, when you see them on being seen, causes others to chant the holy name, that is a devotee. So we have different definitions. Today, the question is being asked of these great kings of yoga, the Nava Yogendras. What is a devotee, or who is a devotee? So I think we are all curious to hear their response. Excuse me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Once again, we're discussing 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 2, verses 44 to 55. We're actually backtracking because I accidentally skipped this section last time. We'll divide this section into 3 headings. 1, King Nimi's question, what is a bhakta? Verse 44. Then our second section will be 3 levels of devotees, verses 45 to 47. And then the third section will be the advanced devotee, verses 48 to 55. We begin with King Nimi's question. What is a bhakta, or who is a bhakta? King Nimi, he asked the sages after receiving their instruction from Kavi, I think initially, what is bhakti? Then he asks, what is a bhakta? He says, please tell me in great detail about the devotees of the Lord. What are their natural symptoms by which we can distinguish the advanced devotee, the intermediate devotee, and the neophyte devotee? What are the typical activities of the devotees in their religious practice, their spiritual practice? How do they speak? Please describe the symptoms and characteristics by which Vaishnavas become dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's a nice assumption there that Vaishnavas are dear. Krishna says in the Gita, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I'm equal to everyone. I'm not partial. But when someone says but, they're going to reverse what they just said or describe some kind of exception. But for those who are constantly dedicated to serving me, my devotees, they are very dear to me, and I am very dear to them. They are always within me, and I am always within them. That is, they are always in my heart, and I'm always in their heart. So I'm equal to everyone, but my devotees are dear. King Nimi says, please tell me how the devotees become dear to the Lord. So, firstly, we can learn something from Nimi's question that we might think, well, I have to treat all devotees equally because I should respect devotees and I don't want to be judgmental. But here Nimi's asking the question, please tell me about devotees at different levels. Why would that be important? Rupa Goswami says that we should honor and respect anyone who chants the holy name, as Lord Chaitanya also taught the members, the residents of Saptagram. No matter one's spiritual stage, you respect everyone, particularly those who are chanting the holy names. However, for practical spiritual advancement, we are encouraged to seek the association of devotees who are more advanced than us, Madhyama Bhaktas, Uttama Bhaktas. So, therefore, we need to be discerning. Therefore, we need to, sometimes we'll use the word discriminate. We need to be able to discriminate. That's a sign of intelligence. Today, discriminate has negative connotations. So you're discriminating against someone. This isn't about discriminating against, and so we'll use a different word. We'll say we need to be discerning. We need to be able to understand distinctions between things and be able to be more nuanced and subtle in our behavior and our relations and interactions with others. So this discernment is a sign of maturity. And so in our dealings with devotees, we need to have that discernment. Who's more advanced, who is our equal, who is junior, and thereby we can have different flavors of relationships with those devotees. And so these gradations, first class, second class, third class, or senior, intermediate, junior, it's not about judging to put somebody down. That needs to be established. It's about being discerning so that we can know how to interact and deal with different devotees. And we can also use that for our own practical spiritual advancement and growth as well. Okay, let's go. I mean, one thing that comes to mind then, devotees supposed to be humble. How is it that you'll see others as maybe other devotees as junior to you and be humble at the same time? So seniority and seniority, juniority, that could be based on different things. Not about humility, but just in terms of practical things. Do you know more that you can share with another person, that you can teach somebody? If you put yourself in a position of artificial humility, then you're not able to give support and guidance to somebody who might benefit from the knowledge and experience you have. So sometimes we can understand seniority just by knowledge and experience. It could be by the duration of time, so number of years that one has been doing a thing. That's another way of establishing seniority. Realization, spiritual advancement. Sometimes it's about position as well. Here, we're going to get some distinctions that will be explained to us by the particular Yogendra who will answer the question. He's going to explain. So this Yogendra will be Havir. First question was answered by Havi. This one is being answered by Havir. The third question answered by Antariksha. What is Maya? So he explains 3 levels of devotees. We're going now to our third section. Verses 45 to 47. Havir says, the most advanced devotee, Uttama Adhikari, sees the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, within everything. Consequently, the advanced devotee sees everything in relation to Krishna and understands that everything exists within Krishna. It is eternally situated within him. Then he explains the Madhyama Bhakta, the intermediate devotee or second-class devotee. He says has 4 characteristics. 1, they offer their love to Krishna. 2, they are a sincere friend of all devotees. 3, they show their kindness and mercy to those who are innocent or ignorant. And 4, they avoid those who are envious of Krishna. So you see here, the Madhyama Bhakta, the intermediary devotee, is one who does have this discernment. They're able to make distinctions. Finally, the Kanishta, or the junior devotee, is described. The neophyte devotee who faithfully engages in worship of the deity in the temple but does not behave properly toward other devotees or people in general is called a prakrita bhakta, a materialistic devotee, and is considered to be in the most junior position. Okay, so we can pause here and reflect as well. Havir. Havir has given us distinctions among devotees categorized as 3 levels. Uttama, the advanced, Madhyama, the intermediate, and, in his words, Prakrita, the neophyte. Prakriti is material nature, so this is the materialistic devotee. The advanced devotee sees Krishna in everyone and everything, and our acharyas explain this very nicely. They give us some examples. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, some devotees, like Prahlad Maharaj, see Krishna's presence, bhavam, in who is their object of worship, atmana, in all things, just like Prahlad Maharaj saw Krishna even in a pillar. The Shukadev, he came out of that pillar because Prahlad Maharaj says, my Lord is there. Yes, he's even in the pillar. And he saw Nrsimhadev within the pillar. Others, like Mother Yasoda, see all living beings within the Lord. She saw the entire universe in Krishna's mouth, if you remember that pastime. Actually, this pastime is described twice in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. One day, she's breastfeeding Krishna, and as she's breastfeeding him, he opens his milky mouth, and she looks inside and sees all the universes. And then another description is given where the boys had complained that Krishna had eaten dirt. And she chastised him, and he says, no, it's not true. They're speaking lies. They're just making this up. And he says, if you don't believe me, you can look in my mouth. And she looked and she saw all the universes. So that's another way that the devotee sees Krishna everywhere. They see everything resting in Krishna. Krishna says in the Gita, Sutre manigana iva. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Finally, there's another way that the devotees see Krishna everywhere, or everything. They see all beings and all things in relation to Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, other devotees like the gopis and the queens of Dwarka perceive love for Krishna in all living beings. So they're seen in the hearts of all living beings, this prema, this love for Krishna. Even in nature, such as the animals and trees and clouds and rivers. If you remember when we read the final chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, there was this song by the queens of Dwarka, the Mahishi Gita, and they can't sleep. They have insomnia. Last night I had some insomnia because I'm in a different time zone, just arrived from New York, in New Zealand, opposite side of the globe. And so, yeah, I was up a lot of the night. So the gopis, the queens, they have insomnia. And why? Because they're thinking very intensely about Krishna, and then they speak to the clouds. Oh, clouds, you're roaring. We see some lightning, we hear some thunder. Are you missing Krishna as well? And then they hear the ocean waves because they're in Dwarka. They say, oh, ocean, you sound very agitated. Is it that you, like us, are feeling separation from Krishna? And so they see all living beings, similarly with the gopis, when they describe the Veda Gita, Krishna going through Vrindavan forest, playing his flute. They say, look, you see the cows, they have stopped chewing, and their ears are pricked up to hear the sound of the flute. And the deer, standing with their mate, they're standing very still, the female deer with the male deer, and they're listening to the sound of Krishna's flute. And so they describe the entire forest as just in love with Krishna, infatuated with Krishna. Of course, they're in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everything is in love with Krishna. But this is given as an example for us by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay, so that's one. Those are three ways that devotees see all things and all beings in relation to Krishna. What about the Madhyama? The Madhyama Adhikari has 4 characteristics. We heard the love for Krishna, friendship with devotees, mercy to the innocent, and avoiding the envious. Our acharyas explain how even some Uttama Bhaktas like Nard, who will see all living beings and things in relation to Krishna, and all living beings as in Krishna, and Krishna in all beings, and having love for Krishna. Nonetheless, as preachers, Acharya is saying, in addition to those qualities, they also have the qualities, or they exhibit the 4 characteristics of the Madhyama Bhakta, and they show compassion selectively, like a mountain that sometimes releases pure water and sometimes does not. If you go to Rishikesh, for example, you'll see that there are, depending on the season, then there will be streams that are flowing with waterfalls. Then at other times in the year, they're completely dried up. So poetically, the acharyas are saying the devotees sometimes show compassion, sometimes withhold it, appear to withhold it. Narada Muni appears to withhold compassion by cursing, for example, Nala Kubera and Manigriva. Actually, it's for their benefit. They get to meet Krishna. They get delivered. The acharyas also explained that the Madhyama Bhakta, the intermediate devotee, helps to advance Krishna's mission by assisting the Uttama Bhaktas in spreading Krishna consciousness far and wide. Okay, finally then, about the Kanishta Bhakta, the Neophyte devotee. They serve the deity in the temple, but they still don't know how to see Krishna's presence in the hearts of all living beings. And so they may act in a way that is arrogant and proud. They think they're better than everyone else. This might lead them to speaking down to others, judging them, chastising them. And so they may appear to not show that compassion and love and respect and kindness because of some pride that comes in on account of their being close to the deity or having some knowledge of the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, or having association with senior devotees, and they're therefore thinking that they're also very senior and great. So we must be careful about these tendencies as well. Over time, there's purification of the heart. Being with the deity, being with the senior devotees, being with the holy name, studying Bhagavatam and Gita purifies the heart, and thereby the junior devotee becomes the intermediate devotee, and finally an Uttama Bhakta as well. Okay, let's go to our third section, verses 48 to 55, the longer section, where Javier explains in more detail about the most advanced devotee. And he says, once again, that he or she see Krishna everywhere. They see everything as part of Krishna's energy. And therefore, they're not overly attached or disturbed by changing events, material events. It's all Krishna's energy. It's all changing and rearranging. That's the nature of the material world. And this, then, another characteristic of the devotee, the advanced devotee, then, is also that they are peaceful. Even while the body is suffering from old age or hunger or anxiety, the most advanced devotee always remembers Krishna's lotus feet and remains peaceful, shanta, and unaffected. Prahlad Maharaj, he was harassed by Hiranyakashipu in so many ways. He remained always peaceful, always shanta. And in the Gita, Krishna says something that Prabhupada called the peace formula. He had the devotees printed up in the 1960s during the Vietnam protests, peace protests or peace marches. The peace formula is Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. That is that you know that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. So those two things. And then that he is Sarvaloka Maheshwara, that he's the Lord of all planets and demigods. 4, that he's the friend, Suhrida Sarvabhutana. These 4 things. It says, if you know these, Krishna says, Yatvamam Kshantim Brichati. If you know them, you will be peaceful. So Prabhupada, he had that written up. Peace formula. I'll say it again. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. We are parts and parcels, so we can enjoy that in relation to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Bhaktaram, and he is the Yajna Tapasa. All the person who gives the fruits of all good activities, of all austerities, of all yajna, that is Krishna. He's the supreme enjoyer. He's the one who gives all the rewards. He is the Lord of all planets and demigods. Everything is under his control. And finally, he's your friend. If you know these things, you will be at peace. Okay. So another characteristic of the advanced devotee is that they are surrendered. Sharanagatya. Krishna says, Mam ekam sharanam. Surrender to me. I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not worry. The devotee is humble. They are free from pride. Then the devotee is, so it's 7 things actually that are described here when I count them. The devotee is selfless. The best of devotee has let go of selfishness and sees everyone as equal. They have peace in serving Krishna. Another is that the devotee is steady, nishta, steadiness. They don't give up Krishna's lotus feet. They don't give up that shelter, even for a single moment. Javier says, even in exchange for the benediction of ruling and enjoying the opulence of the entire universe. The devotee would not give that up. And finally, the seventh point he says is that the best devotee is one who has bound Krishna's lotus feet with ropes of love, and whose heart Krishna, the destroyer of sin, does not leave even if beckoned accidentally. So the devotee will not leave Krishna's lotus feet, and here we learn that Krishna also will not leave the devotee. He will not leave the devotee's heart. That's the compact or the concordate. That is it's the two-way commitment. When you give yourself to Krishna, it says, Krishna, surrender unto me, then I will protect you. Do not fear. When the devotee gives their heart to Krishna or takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, not leaving even for a moment, Krishna takes the heart of that devotee, and he will not leave that heart even for a moment. So we can see here this binding of Krishna. This is the most profound of all these points. Humility, steadiness, these are all like important and nice. Surrender, seeing Krishna everywhere, peace. But this final point, that the devotee binds Krishna, this is most wonderful. Mother Yasoda, she bound up Krishna with ropes of love. And in the same way, our acharyas explain, the Supreme Lord, who binds all the living entities with the material energy, these are gunas, the ropes of the material nature, becomes bound by the ropes of the devotee's love. And so that's the most significant effect of the Bhakta. That was one of the questions of King Nimi. When he asked about the Bhakta, he says, what are the qualities of the Bhakta? But he also asked, how is the devotee dear to Krishna? And so here, the devotee is so dear that they bind Krishna with their love. That's being explained here by Javier. All right, so we can offer a prayer to summarize something that we have learned today. Beloved Krishna, grant me the wisdom to recognize the true glory of your devotees. Though all who call upon your name are deserving of honor, guide us to seek the company of those whose devotion is most advanced, that we may be uplifted by their association and grow in our love for you. Lead us beyond the limited vision of the neophyte who sees you only in the temple, but fails to honor your presence in the hearts of others. Let us see you everywhere, in all beings, as your greatest devotees do. As we walk this sacred path, help us cultivate the heart of the intermediate devotee, overflowing with love for you, offering friendship to your servants, showing mercy to the innocent, and wisely avoiding those who resist your grace. O Krishna, grant us the fortune to serve and learn from those who see you in all things, like Prahlad, who saw you in a pillar, and Yasoda, who held the universe within you. Let us learn from those who, like the gopis and queens of Dvarka, perceive your love in every tree, every cloud and river. Let us be bound to you through the strength of their devotion, as you yourself are bound to it. So let us honor some who arrived after we started speaking, namely Shamalaki. Welcome, Shamalaki. Thanks for being with us. There we are. Shamalaki joining us from Chicago. It says Hare Krishna, and then we have some questions. Janava Mata's here as well. Okay, great. Janava Mata says, Kia ora Prabhu, welcome to Aotearoa. We are blessed. Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Great to be back. And I think other participants in this class will know the Maori here by now. Kia ora is a Maori greeting that people use widely in New Zealand. And then Aotearoa is the Maori name for New Zealand as well. The land of the long white cloud. Thank you, Janava Mata. Okay, Shamalaki's question. How to use Trinadapi Sunicena verse in a discerning way. I love this topic. And then a further reflection. I saw a video with Srila Prabhupada and he said, first make yourself qualified, then preach. Don't preach when you're not qualified, as the add-on to levels of devotees. If you can comment on it. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so 2 questions that we will address initially. How to use Trinadapi Sunicena verse in a discerning way. So the more mature and discerning person is able to apply different things at the same time, even apparently contradictory principles. They see how they work together and harmonize. This verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's teaching us about humility. And he says, when you have this humility, you can chant constantly. What's the humility? Chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. And so if you think of the street where there might be some grass or straw line, nothing can really be lower than that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us the importance of not being proud or arrogant. Even as a teacher, we can still be humble. Even as a leader with position, we can still be humble. So the grass is also making like a carpet for that others can rest or walk upon. And so if we can see ourselves as a leader, for example, not as someone who's on the top, but below, pushing others up. That's a nice vision. Lower than the straw on the street, because I want to be beneath others and push them up. Or I want to take advantage of the opportunity to serve seniors and take the dust of their feet. Therefore, let me become a blade of grass. That was the prayer of Uddhava Prabhu when he visited Vrindavan and he saw the love of the gopis for Krishna. He said, I want to have the dust of their feet on my head, but they will never agree. Therefore, let me become a blade of grass in Vrindavan Dham. Uddhava was very knowledgeable, very wise. He was Krishna's own advisor. He was a disciple of Brihaspati, so very learned. But he recognized, even though I'm so learned, these gopis who are in contrast, externally, they are very simple. They don't have great training and education and learning, but their realization is greater than mine. The effect, the ultimate effect of all our knowledge in the state of our hearts is such that the gopis have more love for Krishna. Therefore, they are my seniors. But they will never accept that role. They will never give me the opportunity to take the dust of their feet. Therefore, let me become grass. So this is a humility. It's not an artificial humility. It's based in deep insight and realization. Similarly, Brahma, he also prayed to become a creeper in Vrindavan, to have the Brajvasis foot dust on his head. So as far as we are concerned, we can see our role, that even if we are in senior roles or leadership roles, one, we want to be like grass and push others up and support them. Two, we want to take advantage, like Uddhava and Brahma, of seniors and have the dust of their feet on our head, like grass. Not expecting respect from others. That's the other thing that Lord Chaitanya says. When we expect respect, that's problematic. If others express appreciation, and they want to express their love and their gratitude by showing respect, then it is also incumbent upon us to acknowledge that and receive it. That's part of a relationship. That's also part of humility, to honor another by receiving their recognition and their gratitude and their love and their respect. But a problem is when we expect it, when we expect to be honored and respected, and then when we demand it, then that is an arrogance, and it's not favorable to the practice of bhakti. Then, rather than going to the temple or to the association into the association of devotees to receive something, means to learn something and to receive the benefit of association, we're just going looking for honor, looking for an opportunity to be glorified. It means we can't benefit from association anymore. We can't benefit anymore from going before the deities or coming into the class where Bhagavatam is being discussed, because we're just looking to see how we will be respected. So that is a great trap. And Lord Chaitanya says, therefore, with that attitude, you won't be able to chant. So he says, you should be more tolerant than it. And then he says, more tolerant than a tree. The tree gives shelter, the tree gives its wood, the tree gives fruits and flowers, and doesn't expect return, just serves. And so that is also the attitude of a devotee, to serve and to support. Everyone is part of Krishna. Everyone is worthy, and everyone, as part and parcel of Krishna, can be a recipient of my love and respect. They don't have to justify, they don't have to have a reason, even if they may appear ungrateful, or they may appear to be so bad that they are not worthy of respect. From a Vaishnava's perspective, they are part and parcel of Krishna. They may be misguided, they may be unfortunate in that sense. They don't know how to resourcefully find satisfaction and fulfillment and so on. But the devotee's heart is always open to them. It'll be with a heart of compassion, trying to find a way to support. And so, therefore, like a tree. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, when we're like that, like grass, like a tree, and when we are not expecting respect, then we will be able to chant with an open heart. We'll be able to chant constantly. We can do those things while showing leadership at the same time. So there doesn't have to be a contradiction. Prabhupada, then your next question was about Prabhupada and preaching. He says, if you're not qualified, then don't preach. So I'm just thinking how in Prabhupada's time, it was so amazing that he would send people all over the world, and they would start temples, and they would make devotees, and they themselves had only been devotees for weeks or months, 1 year or 2 years at the most, and they were doing all of this incredible preaching by Prabhupada's empowerment. So our qualification is our humility in our connection with the Guru Parampara. If we are connected to the Guru Parampara, one way or another, and if we have humility, then we can preach, we can share as much as we have learned. If we go to preach, to put ourselves forward as a great authority, then that can be problematic. Therefore, better not preach. You become qualified and then preach. But even if you know nothing, accept Prabhupada's shelter and the holy name, and you have that connection, and you just tell others, I have received Prabhupada's mercy. I've learned something from the Bhagavad Gita. I've received this mantra. It makes me happy. Even if you share that much, that can change people's lives. So if we have that connection to the Guru Parampara and we share what little we know with humility, that is a qualification. If we don't have that connection and we try to teach somebody and we do so with arrogance or pride, then we would say, don't preach. First become qualified and then preach. So I don't know the specific context in which Prabhupada was speaking there, because generally he encouraged his disciples to share what they had learned from him, and he empowered them to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Okay, another question from Shamalaki here. If Uttama accepts life in peace, why Krishna asked Arjuna to kill his family? Yeah, okay, very good. The devotee is peaceful in that they are not disturbed. So Arjuna was initially agitated. He didn't want to fight because he was agitated. And so he wanted to make peace because he was disturbed. Krishna was telling Arjuna, become peaceful and fight. So what's the difference there? Become peaceful and fight as a matter of service, as a matter of duty. If you're thinking this is for you and you're attached to the results, you'll be agitated because you may win, you may lose. But if you do this as a service and as a matter of a duty, whatever the outcome, you will win. If you win the war, glorious, you will rule the earth, and you do that as your service as well. If you lose the battle and die on the battlefield, you still win because you died in service. So therefore the devotee is peaceful. Win or lose, live or die, the devotee is peaceful because the outcome is auspicious. Everything is offered to Krishna, and auspiciousness will come from that. Auspiciousness is assured. Therefore, our success is in the process rather than the outcome. If the outcome is successful, that is a bonus. But if it isn't successful, there is still glory in having served. Therefore, everything we do, we try to do as an offering to Krishna. We try to do remembering Krishna. We try to do for Krishna's pleasure. And in this, success or failure, it's always auspicious. And therefore, we can be at peace. Whatever the situation, we can be at peace. Whether we make peace or war, the devotee will be internally at peace because the outcome is assured to be auspicious. The example, Chitraketu Maharaj, cursed to become a demon, fighting as Vritrasura, fighting as a great demon against the demigods. Indra was agitated and disturbed, full of fear. He was attached to the outcome. Vritrasura, he was at peace. He was fighting, but he was fighting as a matter of duty. And he was encouraging Arjuna, encouraging Indra, come on, do your duty here. Don't be afraid. And have faith. Vishnu had actually given Indra a Vajra, a special weapon. He says, you already have the Vajra. You already have the means to kill me. Why are you disturbed? So Chitraketu was fully at peace because he knew that he was meditating on Krishna. He was remembering Krishna. He was praying to Krishna. When Indra was too afraid to fight, then he prayed. Krishna, Please give intelligence to this Indra. Let him do his duty. And he prayed very nicely. He says, may I always have the association of your devotees. May I, and particularly he mentioned his spiritual master, Narada Muni. May I always have the blessings of Narada Muni. Because in his previous life, Narada Muni had given him a mantra that had enabled him to have darshan of Krishna. So he's at peace. Even though in the body of a demon, even though fighting against the demigods, internally he's at peace. Because whatever the outcome, win or lose, there's Krishna's mercy. So process over outcome. That's a key takeaway for us in this question. That's a key takeaway in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's telling Arjuna, success or failure, if the process is right, if it's being done as an offering to me without selfishness, selfish motive, then you win. Okay, Janavamata says, thank you for your clear and informative talk, explanations, very helpful. Can you explain the difference between criticizing and instructing, teaching? Do Kanishtas instruct others or only Madhyama? Also, do Uttamas instruct others? Thank you. Yeah, good questions. And so Kanishtas may like to instruct others. That comes a little bit with the Kanishta character, with that pride and arrogance, that they feel that they can instruct others, tell us others what to do. Does the Madhyama instruct others? Yes. With their heart of love and compassion and humility. They serve their seniors, they have friendships with their peers, and with compassion and love, they share, they teach, they instruct juniors, they support them. And then I guess you're asking, can a Kanishta instruct others? And the answer would be, the Kanishta will also need to instruct others, but they'll need to try to, separate their false ego from the instruction that they may have, the guidance that they may have. Generally, we'll be looking to a Madhyama to lead us, to teach us as our guide, as our teacher, as our spiritual master. So we'll be looking to senior devotees, but we need to cooperate and collaborate with all sorts of devotees, and also with Kanishta devotees. And so in practical things, a Kanishta may be giving instruction, and there's the challenge. So even, as we might identify as a Kanishta or a Madhyama, whatever the case. So we may need to give instruction. Our challenge will be to separate our false ego from our teaching and support how we guide others. Finally, do Uttamas instruct others? And the answer is by disposition not, because they see everyone as resting in Krishna, or Krishna's love resting in their hearts, or what was the third example? They see Krishna within all things, so they're not instructing others. But then we also discussed how our acharyas explain how devotees like Narada Muni, they will act as madhyamas, and they will preach, they will teach others. So Uttama Bhaktas, they may be acting, they may be situated as Uttama Bhaktas, but they'll be acting as madhyamas. And this was explained. The Uttama Bhakta will then enact the 4 qualities of the madhyama as well. Love for Krishna, friendship with devotees, kindness and compassion to the innocent, and avoiding the envious, which the Uttama wouldn't do. The Uttama wouldn't avoid the envious. The Uttama sees them also as carrying Krishna in their heart. Okay. Kirtida says, thank you for the class. You're most welcome, Kirtida. Sri Gandharvika, my wife, joins us from New York City, says, Hari Bol. Great to see you here. Thanks for joining. Just got enough work And then we have Donald, who says, Hare Krishna. Donald Mason, thank you for joining us. And then we have Janava Mata, who says, I really wanted to come to New Varshana for the festival and have your sweet association, but I'm going to Fiji, so I couldn't do both. I understand. Hopefully one day we can be together again in the land of our birth, or anywhere for that matter. Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Thanks for letting me know, Janava Mata. I know lots of devotees are going to Fiji from here after this festival. I was also invited, but I couldn't do both. Okay, yes, and I also share that hope that we'll be together somewhere at some point in the near future. Let me just acknowledge a few of you on Instagram. Celestial, Ekalavya, C. Radhadasi, Katuria, Manoj, Notes 444, Mohini Shakti, Abu Janu, Shiben, Dhruv Sharma in Sydney, good friend, Amang Takar, Amit, Kirad, Mayank, Anandi Gurunj, Satya Maharaj, Sons, Raja Tarora, Alena, Deepak, Matty G. Matty G says, save for later viewing, Shripi. Okay, good. Apsara Gopi, Munir Hussain, Prasant Vikash, Prema Hamilton with us, Bhagavatam, Big Bapu, Sunil, thank you all. Priya B. Patel, Keshav Baba, Harinam Daya Sindhu joining from Sydney, Keshav Rajesh, Sky Follower, and so on. Thank you all for joining. We wish you well. We wish that you all deepen your taste for chanting the holy name. Oh, I see a couple more comments. Uttama sees everyone as God's part. So why kill? Okay, follow-up question from Shamalaki here. Uttama sees everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. So why would you kill them? Because of different roles, Shamalaki. So even though the devotees see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna, and there are different roles. Just like, let's say, with the vegetable that we cut and then cook and offer. Why kill? Well, this vegetable, it turns out, is also necessary for us, for our food, for our sustenance. And Krishna, he gives us that opportunity to cook and then offer to him and to be purified of the sin of killing another being. So Bhagavatam says, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. One living being is food for another. It's different roles. And so the devotee also, but that vegetable is also, the soul there is also eternal. It will be put into another body and it will carry on in its cycle and journey through samsara, through existence. And so the devotee is also philosophical. In terms of Arjuna, that is his duty. His duty is to protect and uphold Dharma. And so even though he sees Paramatma in the heart of his opponent, they are playing the role in that body as an opponent, as an enemy of Dharma. And so it is his duty to fight with them and to win a war. You have a duty to maintain your body by also cooking, preparing food, offering that food. And so it is, even though we see Krishna within the hearts of all living beings, we also recognize it's not, so it's one and different. I guess that's the important thing here. Everything is Krishna's energy. It is all one. It is to be respected in that way. but then there is also distinctions in how that energy is manifesting and how we are to interact with that energy as well, with those personalities who are inhabiting different bodies and different situations as well. So there is a unity, there's also a distinction that requires our discernment. And so maintaining body and soul is also your duty. That means you need to sustain it. And there are choices made. There's a discernment that's required to live, to exist in service as well. So yeah, great question. Great questions. Thank you very much. Janamamata says, regarding the Arjuna question, Prabhupada says that in order to preach, Anutamanikari takes on the Madhyama mentality. Yeah, that's right. Very good. Nikunja says, thank you, Prabhu, for your instructive class. You're most welcome, Nikunja. Janamamata says, Arjuna is acting on the direct instruction of the Lord. Yes. And who ate the Kauravas? Laugh. Laugh out loud. Very good. Excellent. Thank you all very much. Wish you well. May you deepen in your taste for chanting the holy name. May you deepen in your appreciation of Srimad Bhagavatam. May you deepen your appreciation for how Krishna appears to us in the form of the deity and as the holy Dham where his pastimes are performed. And may you take every opportunity to serve and associate with and love devotees. Today we've learned about different ways that we interact with and understand devotees. So taking the teachings that we have learned today to heart, may you deepen in your relationships and appreciations of Vaishnavas. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.